Can you speak on the negative effects of training too much? Yes. It catches up to you and beats you down. Oh, but there's more. Specifically, when you turn into a walking bag of cortisol and it starts affecting your sleep and attitude towards loved ones. In my community, we feel that more is always better and that we've lost training value if we don't leave in a pool of sweat each and every single time. Well, for our listeners, if you do go to danjohnworkouts.com, I do have a program that I designed specifically for our listener, George. It's the redeployment workout, because in the community George is talking about, there is always this one-upmanship. And the only problem with that is that is never proved in any place to ever work. It's interesting because it was the great American football coach, Bill Walsh, who figured out, because of his interactions with track and field coaches, Bill Walsh used to go to track practices because he wanted to know how come track athletes were so fast. And he looked around and people were stretching, people would go hard, and then they would have 15, 20-minute breaks. And he would ask the coaches, well, won't they go faster if you make them work harder? And of course, track coaches look at you like, you know, you might be smart, but you're stupid, you know? And one of the great lessons of life is that you can't live a linear path. It just doesn't work. It's like the old thing about, you know, the wise man did the emperor a favor. And the emperor said, I'll give you anything you want. And they said, well, tell you what, for 1 month, on day one, you'll give me $1, 1 pound, 1 kroner, whatever the number was. And on day two, you just double it. You give me $2. And on day 3, you just double it. And you give me 4. On day 4, you double that. And of course, by the end of the month, the entire empire was bankrupt because that geometric progression is uncheckable. Most of us think that's how we improve. Sadly, that doesn't happen. You know, when I was young, I used to hate the plateau. And I used to hate, you know, the down. And then late in my career, I realized that the plateaus and the down times were actually the times that prepared me for that magic bow and arrow effect that shot me back up to the top. So much so, I would have these performances that shocked me. And of course, that surprise of how far it went kind of got my arousal level going. And the next one would go even farther. And it's a lesson I wish I would have learned as a child, but you just can't. So if the only thing I can say is people who like to train, we used to call it balls to the wall, there's always a downside to it. And what's going to happen is you're going to be a broken old man at 35, and it's just not worth doing it that way. It's much smarter to fall in love with the plateau and embrace it and not try to drive it up, but rather just say, this is where I am today. What a good workout, and come back and just keep coming back.